A show about sentient Muppet tumors pushing people to flex their facial muscles gave me the feels. But that's probably like the third time you've heard that today, right? Smiling Friends is an absolute anomaly of adult animation, and I mean that in the best possible way. I went into this show with pretty much zero expectations. I knew that it was co-created by Hadel, aka Psychicpebbles, whom I was very familiar with since I was hugely into Newgrounds back in the day. You know, before it was just known as that website where you can play Friday Night Funkin'.
Can you get her out of my car, please?
But as far as this show specifically is concerned, I never watched the pitch pilot, I never watched any reviews on it, I went into this completely and utterly clueless, which is actually what the creators themselves recommend you do. And after binging the entire first season in one shot, I came out doing exactly what the show had advertised. Smiling Friends is extremely enjoyable. Not only is this the best use of mixed media I've seen in adult animation, like Gumball with some chest hair, not only is the comedy consistently funny with a lot of jokes rooted in awkward everyday conversations, which I love, not only do they have the angry video game nerd as the voice of the devil, though he's not playing Super Mario Bros. 3, so I gotta dock a few points there. And not only does this show have some really subtle narrative additions that you only notice on the second watch, the first episode literally has a loaded gun that goes off in the third act. That's freaking brilliant. But the overall worldview that the show presents is surprisingly uplifting. There's this sense of underlying realistic optimism that pervades the entire show, which completely threw me for a loop given what I'm used to in adult animation. I mean, think about it. In our current climate of cynical, edgy adult cartoons, when you hear a premise like Smiling Friends, where there's a company with the single goal of making unhappy people smile, what would you expect? Well, probably the two main guys doing their job day after day and getting constantly thwarted by the inevitable depressions of real life. Like, making people smile in this day and age is just not possible anymore, or something like that. But Smiling Friends doesn't do that. Sure, it involves a lot of dark subject matter and black comedy in its episodes, but it still has an underlying feeling of hope a lot of the time. Like it's actually possible for things to get better. I mean, the first episode involves a guy constantly on the verge of killing himself, and yet at the end, he doesn't go through with it, or his finger slips for a cheap gag or something. He actually improves. He actually finds a true calling and gets his life back on track. Sure, Pim is pretty bummed out by the end of it, but in the next episode, he's right back to his old self. That's awesome. In fact, when the show actually does kill off characters, it's either unnamed nobodies in the background, or characters that you can argue kinda had it coming, like stalkers, manipulators, and abusive corporate suits.
Hey, I bet you can eat this.
Abusive television executive.
I bet you I can. Give me that. Nom 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 nom.
Hello. And even just little moments like the Salt and Pepper having a cute kissing scene and Charlie commenting on how beautiful it is, or Pim's little firewood song and Cabin Fantasy from the Halloween special. It feels nice to watch. I like it. Look at my head, it's full of happiness. Among other things. So yeah, TLDI, really funny show, great use of appropriately dark, but with a realistic sense of optimism that I really appreciate. Overall, I heavily enjoyed this show. Originally, I was gonna do a huge behind-the-scenes breakdown of why it's so amazing, like I did with Cuphead last week, but I'm pretty late to the party, and a lot of people have already made videos like that, so instead, I'm just gonna show you the proof in the pudding. We're gonna dig into my favorite episode of Season 1, Shrimp's Odyssey, so I can easily show you guys exactly what all the fuss is about. Not only does this episode show off everything that makes Smiling Friends worth watching, but it's especially good at giving off that uplifting vibe I just mentioned, leading to what is probably the most wholesome episode of the first season. Like always, keep in mind that these are just my own personal thoughts, and if you have a favorite episode of Smiling Friends, or just thoughts on the show in general, feel free to leave a comment below. But for now, let's put a smile on that face. Yep, your face. You know, if I end up being funny in this video, which I'm usually not, so yeah. Okay, let's go! So the episode starts off with...
It's Small Moo! If
Ooh.
you want Small Moo
Hang on a sec, guys, hang on. I mean, wouldn't you want to know? Those are some slamming kicks, man. Better than my shoes. Anyway, the episode starts off with Pim and Charlie just chilling in the office. Pim is munching on some peanuts, until Alan comes into the room and tells him that those aren't peanuts, those are worms. And then Charlie says that Pim should get glasses. And already we have one of my favorite things about this show. A lot of Smiling Friends' comedy involves the main duo's dry reactions to whatever happens around them, or just normal conversations that we have in our day-to-day lives. Mike and Zach just have such great chemistry and dry wit when they're voicing their characters. And in my opinion, I think it's way more hilarious to have Pim and Charlie just casually react to weird situations than to have them scream or constantly swear or something. I mean, in this scene, Pim just ate freaking worms by accident, but instead of making a big deal out of it, like yelling or having him puke his guts or something, it all comes down to, you just ate freaking worms, dude. You should go see the eye doctor. What can I say? That's just funny. Also, if Pim can't decipher between a crunchy, salty snack food and a slimy, squishy living thing, I think he's got to see more than just the eye doctor. Heck, he should probably see every doctor his insurance plan can handle, because how does this happen? Anyways, the boss rushes in to tell the duo that they've got a new assignment, and yes, he does look like some kind of celebrity caricature given flesh. It's creepy and I love it. So they head down to the customer's address, and there's just some random guy getting his head stomped in over here. Yeah, like I said, people do die a lot in this show, but it's always either faceless nobodies or characters that kind of deserved it. This is probably one of my favorites though, because the duo barely acknowledge it. Pim just kind of looks at it and is like, huh, well that's unfortunate. And that's it. Again, that's funny. They open the door and we meet our alpha male for the evening, Shrimp. Yep, he's an actual shrimp. I guess I could see the resemblance. I mean, he looks more like the love child of Earthworm Jim and Madam Foster to me, but sure, alright, Shrimp. He's upset because his girlfriend dumped him and he's afraid that he'll never find love again.
Sigh, my girlfriend just broke up with me. I am heartbroken.
Also, yes, in case you're wondering, that is David Firth, aka the Salad Fingers guy, doing the voice of Shrimp. Yeah, they got a lot of high-quality internet talent on board with this show, which is another thing I love. They don't just use trending celebrities or flash-in-the-pan voices. These are actual people that have helped to shape the internet scene from its very early years, and very talented people at that. In fact, Zach and Mike have stated that people like David Firth were huge inspirations for them back in the day, so there's a personal connection there too. The fact that the first major cartoon with internet origins really pays homage to its long-standing roots is just so freaking awesome. Also, for some reason, Dave gave Shrimp a text-to-speech sounding voice, and it's absolutely amazing.
Shrimpina meant everything to me. I only realize now she is gone. I never fully appreciated her.
Download Shrimp Weave and other great voices by clicking the link below.
So each member of the duo decides to take a different approach on this mission. Charlie wants to help Shrimp get his groove back, while Pim wants to help patch things up with Shrimp's ex-girlfriend, Shrimpina. This leads to Pim dashing over to Shrimpina's place of work and...
Number 15. Could I get...
Sorry. I know that voice. That freaking meme was in every corner of my recommended back in the day, even when I didn't want it there. Not gonna say his name. Not gonna acknowledge him. Just gonna say that the very sound of his voice gives me chills. Oh, dang it! Anyways, Pim enters the cafe to find Shrimpina, and... wow! She's a cutie. I mean, she doesn't have much competition since the rest of the cast is mostly Blue's Clues Fever Dreams, but even in a normal show, she'd look really nice. And she's even got a sweet personality to match. Pim obviously starts falling for her right away, which is all kinds of adorable.
After all, I do believe in destiny.
Do you believe in destiny? Close your eyes and leave the rest to me.
Meanwhile, Charlie is helping Shrimp get a whole new style. He gives him a new outfit to try on, and boom! Fourth reason why I love this show, the use of mixed media. This single overly detailed still isn't the best example since there are episodes that have full-on CG and stop-motion characters in their stories, but I've just always loved mixed media shows, and it's something that you rarely see in adult cartoons nowadays. Unless it's just a one-off gag or a single episode. But no, this kind of stuff is common all throughout the series. Like there's one episode, Who Violently Murdered Simon S. Salty, which literally just has a guy. Like no animated additions or anything, just a guy, a normal green screen guy in the show, and that's amazing. Michael and Zach said that they made the show mixed media because they wanted to keep everything fresh. They wanted to make it possible to cut up every episode into single clips that could stand on their own, much like the YouTube videos they used to make. And it looks like they succeeded since the show has already proven to be grade A meme material. So Charlie and Shrimp try some other things like tanning and working out, but all that gets them is casual devourment and geriatric gym bros giving them lip. So yeah, no good. Though I will admit I do kinda like the weird friendship that Charlie and Shrimp seem to form. I mean, it obviously starts off as just part of the job, but the two of them share some nice conversations and even go out for a drink when all hope is lost. It's honestly pretty cute. In a weird way. Meanwhile, again, we get Pim having a romantic fantasy about Shrimpina, and it's just nice. It's just a really nice moment. They don't try to make a joke or include anything shocking for a juxtaposition. It's just a nice, wholesome fantasy of Pim imagining his whole life with a girl he truly loves. I even love the little details, like imagining that his best friend is happily married too, and the fact that his boss will live to see his kid's wedding with them. I just really like it when shows, especially adult cartoons, can have nice little moments. And while Smiling Friends isn't loaded with bits like this, when they do show up every so often, they're such a delight to watch. But we haven't even gotten to the best part yet, because lastly we have the scene at the spaghetti disco. And this is the main reason why I call this the most wholesome episode of the show. I mean, the flirting at the cafe was cute, the romantic fantasy was adorable, and even Charlie and Shrimp's awkward friendship is really sweet, but this is the moment that got to me the most. Pim tries to express his feelings to Shrimpina, but sees Charlie and Shrimp getting drunk at the bar and realizes that he just can't go through with it. But oops, it turns out that the girl wasn't Shrimpina after all. Her name is Jennifer, and she's never seen Shrimp before in her life. Pim went to the completely wrong place. Oops! However, to the surprise of literally everyone, she's actually into him. In fact, she straight up says that he's everything she's ever dreamed about. I know this is mostly meant to be a joke, but I imagine that it can also be reassuring for a lot of people. I mean, we just spent half of this episode hammering home how conventionally unattractive this guy is. He's ugly, he's wrinkly, he's got a receding hairline, he lives in a rundown apartment, he's got weird body proportions and a bulging gut, he's weaker than most politicians' arguments, he doesn't stand up for himself, he talks like C-3PO's lobotomized cousin, he doesn't clean up his place and probably doesn't clean himself up either, and his interests are limited to playing bargain bin Steam games for hours at a time. I mean, for crying out loud, Charlie straight up says to him that he is screwed. There is absolutely no way to help him out, and he's surprised that he even had a girlfriend to begin with. This guy is certifiably hopeless. And yet, even after all that, this cutie still digs him. See what I mean when I say that Smiling Friends always has that nice tinge of optimism? This episode right here shows that even when you're as seemingly hopeless as Shrimp, even if you're stuck with things you can't help like looks and speech patterns and body physicality, there's always the chance that there's someone out there for you. Heck, I once thought that there would never be someone who could love an overly energetic cartoon obsessee who sounds like Kermit the Frog, and yet here I am, currently dating a sweet talented artist with the voice of an angel. Bro, if I can do it, if my man Shrimp can do it, you can do it too. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You deserve to be happy as much as anyone else, and you'll get your happy ending eventually. So yeah, that's pretty much Smiling Friends. It's a huge breath of fresh air for adult animation, all things considered. It's made by a small group of passionate guys instead of a bunch of corporate suits, which really shows. It uses shocking content sparingly and tastefully, which actually leads to much better comedy. It's got a style all its own that adult cartoons don't really utilize in this day and age, and while it does love its dark content, it still has an underlying sense of hope to it. One that doesn't feel delusional and instead really genuine. Honestly, it's a fantastic series, and I'm really glad that Zach and Mike were able to see their dream through to the end. They clearly love their fandom, sending out heartfelt thank yous and staying true to even the smallest and dumbest of promises, so I wish them nothing but success with this show. I just really hope that Adult Swim doesn't screw them over at any point. Come on, guys, not only is this show extremely popular, but it's also cost efficient. The entire first season cost the same amount it takes to make a single episode of Family Guy. You guys would be idiots to let a show like this slip under the radar, so you better not... Oh, they already greenlit a second season. And Zach and Mike said that they're going to make season 2 so incredible that it's going to make season 1 look like stick figures in comparison. Alright, that's a good sign. But what do you guys think? What's your favorite episode of Smiling Friends? And what are your thoughts on the series as a whole? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and I hope to see you all